This is definitely a part of the song. Jedi, why is it in the 40s?
Nice fade.
I've worked on that all day. I haven't.
Took the day
The
off.
people that I work with are pissed. That is all I've done. But I feel very good about it.
That's good, as you should. You executed it very well.
Thank you. It's more difficult on a trackpad as well. It's not like I have a nice fader. I have to like click and drag, and my fingers get sweaty on the tips.
Yeah, no, I get that, especially because you're nervous that you're gonna screw it up.
Yeah, and then they'll stutter. Oh, tell that to my sunburned eyelids. That's the first thing I saw, and that's what you said, and you sound dumb. Hey, Becca McKenzie, Jedi. It's in the 40s. Got 4 of my 6 Christmas trees up though. Honestly, I thought you had more than 6. I'm surprised that you only have 6. Oh man, I know we're jumping in fast, but I feel like we have a lot to go through.
There is a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Not the least of which is the fact that Lauren is not here. Now, Lauren is on a work retreat, much like this. This week was kind of like a work retreat week. Some of us got out of ours, some of us didn't. But she is gone.
Did you get out of yours, or did it get out of you?
I was let out of mine for sure. I'm not going to talk about this on the show because I did get really anxious. I edited. If you watch the show on Twitch and then you listen to the podcast, there was some editing that happened. I didn't say anything that I think was inappropriate. But when you've been let go from a company and that company still owes you things, you want to be careful. So I definitely made some cuts. So I won't talk about it on the like during the actual podcast episode because I want to edit it out.
But in roughly 55 days, we're gonna do a full debrief.
No, but for the people here, because I know for the people here, I made the comment about going to the Netherlands. That decision was taken out of my hands. I said that with an accent. That was taken out of my hands about 7 days ago. 5 days ago? I don't know. I've been checking.
It was 2 days before, or 3 days before you were supposed to go.
I've been checking it every single day. I open the app every day and like, still there. All I gotta do is just go jump on the airplane, still there. And then one day I checked the app, hit refresh, gone. That was it. So
just a tumbleweed image.
Yeah, just no. I gone, and then a tumbleweed blew past me behind me. So
okay, do we want to just go ahead and get started?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Let's clap it in 3 and 2 and 1, 2, 3. Here we go. We're gonna clap when I get 2, 3.
Quit it. Just do it. Let's just straight up. Let's do it. Let's get in.
I haven't talked to a lot of people today.
You haven't talked to anybody today. I know.
Okay, here we go. 3 and 2 and 1 and.
Before we start, do you want to maybe? Is there anything you need to say now you don't want to say on the air?
Okay. Yeah. I muted myself because I do want to say them, but I still shouldn't say them. So I technically didn't say them.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 571 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that's both sides of a double-headed coin. In this episode, we talk about Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire and Bellatro. I'm Andrew Sale.
And I'm Patrick Hill.
So call it in the air, because it's time for another episode.
There can only be one. Something about things that are head-heavy makes me think of Highlander.
Okay. Sure.
You know that common pop culture
classic
that is Highlander.
And super relevant.
Very relevant.
We like to kick off every episode by going around the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. And Patrick, I'm going to kick things off by just telling you, off air, I said, I'm in pain, but I'm waiting to tell the show to tell you. Yeah. And you thought it was funny because I laughed and then told you I was in pain.
It sounded like your life was falling apart.
It's not. Well, it is, but that's not.
It was like the way someone says it when they've just completely given up.
No.
And I don't know why my instinct was to laugh at that, but that's how I heard it.
I went on a walkabout today, and I think I talked about this on last episode, where I hiked for pretty much the entire day, and I did great, like for 95% of it. It was raining when I first started, and so the rocks were slippery. And I was hiking Enchanted Rock in Fredericksburg, so it wasn't like I was just like walking around outside. Like it's a legit, like you can boulder, and they have different tiers of hiking that you can do there. And I did great. I didn't get injured at all. I didn't fall. There was a lot of opportunities to do so. There was, though, on like just about 45 minutes before I was done, I had to hike up basically a waterfall. So when I was doing fine, but the water, like the consistent water under my feet, once I got to some rocks that were no longer where the water was going, it was my shoes were slippery, and so my feet slipped out from under me, and to keep me from falling all the way down the rocky waterfall, my strength training actually kicked in, and I took this one hand and I reached and grabbed onto a rock face and basically held my entire body up with just this hand to keep myself from falling. So in an effort to not get injured badly, I saved myself. But when I did that, my left abdomen, just underneath my rib cage, like it pulled, and like instantly felt this like it was hard to breathe and all of that stuff. And so now, like, it's fine. Like I finished, I made it to the summit and did all this stuff after the fact. So like I'm not like dying. But when I laugh, specifically when I laugh, it hurts a lot. So as we go about this episode, if I wince when I laugh, that's why. It's because there's likely a bruise just underneath my rib cage.
Did you think of me at all when this happened?
I thought about you the entire time, honestly, not just when I didn't fall and thinking about how you would have, but no, but I thought about how you would have loved doing this hike because it was such a freaking awesome hike.
For sure. Yeah. I was literally just relaying the story a week and a half ago about being with you and Cooper and just hitting the ground and just how
both knees just goof.
Yeah, just how violent, but also just definitively it happened. Hated it.
It was wild. This is from, let me see if I can pull this image up.
The guy that plays the Kurgan is on the Penguin.
The Kurgan.
Okay.
Where's the peak? Here we go. This is come on, frick. And it turns out I went up some things that you actually weren't supposed to go up. But this was the hike. It was so freaking pretty.
Oh my gosh.
And this was what it looked like when I first got there.
It's weird that you did the whole thing in a sweater.
This was all of the rocks when I first got there was because it was raining.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure I'm only going to get 5 feet into this and I'm going to break my neck. But then it cleared up after a few minutes, and then it was just beautiful the rest of the day. So, turns out when that Enchanted Rock was established in 1984. You know what else was established in 1984?
You.
This guy. So we're both celebrating our 40th birthdays this year. So, That was fun. Yeah, so that's why I was in pain when we were talking earlier. When you go to disc golf land when you're over there, the things that you've sent me seem like you have like big, wide. It looks like it's a hike where you guys play disc golf.
So it depends, but yes, like when I went and did, there's a place just below us called Camp Jordan, and to do 18 holes there took like 2.5 hours. They were very, I mean, one of the par fives, to give you number one, it's just spread out in terms of how much walking you have to do to each hole, but the holes themselves are long. Like one of the par fives is 950 feet. So that it's like some crazy distances. It just took a really long time to get there.
But it's pretty though too, right? Like it's hilly.
Oh yeah, I mean it's for sure. We're not playing anywhere that's like super hilly, but it is hillier than what you would find probably in Texas. But yeah, when I go to there's another place I go a lot, which is Chester Frost. It's basically an island. Like you drive into this park and you go over this bridge onto an island, and you're just playing around the island the whole time.
Which one is that? The Chest or the Frost?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So they're both there.
Okay. So that place is great. Now we have there's one course I haven't gone to, and I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna go or just wait until you're here and we go together. But that's the professional course that opened, which is the Corbettas. I haven't been there yet, but the other courses I've sent you, yes, like for the most part. Just long, wide open lanes, like pretty straightforward stuff, but they're really fun to play.
I played at a new course this week that wasn't, I had played it maybe 7 years ago, like a long time ago. And, it was Schlother Park, which I know we've talked about before, but the park was, the course was relatively easy, except for whatever reason, I think because it had rained a couple days before, the mosquitoes, they were like, I mean, no joke. The mosquitoes were probably a half-inch long. Like they were massive mosquitoes, and they were everywhere, and it made it miserable.
So that's the trade-off, because I felt like there was a lot more of that where we were playing. It just felt like everybody that built a disc golf course was like, "Hey, this piece of land floods often. Let's put it there." Here I haven't.
There's a ton of stagnant water here. Yeah.
Yeah. Here I haven't got as much of that, but. The thorns here have been brutal. So there's a couple courses we play that if you throw out of bounds, it's just gone. Like it's too thick. It's too many thorns. Like you just let it go. But just don't have the bugs.
Yeah. I was hoping because it's been cooler. Like cooler weather typically gets rid of the bugs, but it didn't the other day. No. Patrick, I got a little something from my birthday from Cooper, and I know I showed you the box of it, but it is complete, and here it is. I'm just going to show. It's the space like postcard set, and they are all snapped together right now, but they don't have to be. They can just be individual like little tiles if you want them to be, and it is so freaking good.
I'm not convinced this was not designed by DKNG. It just looks so much like a print series they would do, and then separately you could get like a pin of the Comet and a pin of the it just feels like their style.
I wish that it had been them, because then they would have done pin accoutrement. Like there would have been like apparel that would have been tied to it, and so I'm super happy with that. Cooper and Becca and I all put it together this weekend, and it goes together rather quickly. But it's a really nice shelf piece. And on the back of it, you see these little things? They have like
built-in hangers.
Yeah, hangers, so you can hang them on the wall if you want.
You know what? I didn't, and when you started showing it, I realized what it was. I didn't before, but that's awesome. So literally, you just need everything else.
Yeah, that's so super neat.
It would be fun if you got to make a Lego nail, which is completely impractical to hang on a wall, but I do like that idea.
It is impractical to do that. Hey, I did get something else in the mail that was a bit of a surprise. Our buddies over at Keymaster. Yeah, they're still our buddies. The people over at Keymaster. I was just trying to think like.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's tough because
Jen is still in our community. She's still in Slack.
Yeah, that's why I had to run through my head. I was like, okay, we're still friends with some of the team over there. We don't know the whole team now. Like the problem
That's
is,
true.
like
I know that,
the team has grown and shrunk in different areas, and so some of the founding people that we were kind of on the ground floor with when they were first starting, they're not necessarily there anymore. So I had to like run through like my head, but they released like out of nowhere a new game this week, and it's called Fuego. Have you heard about this?
No, of course not. I mean, I'm familiar with Fire.
It's a trick-taking game. It is a big matchbox. Like
That's
this is
so
actually like this is like it's textured. You can hear the
right.
So it looks like a big matchbox, and the game slides out from here, and it's the whole thing is it's a trick-taking game. So it's a 4-player game, and the you play with different fire, and you're having to try to I don't even know the full rules yet, but you're trying to like take away flames from the other team and try to keep your flames from being taken away. Like I don't know the full rules yet, but it looks really nice, and it was
is it 2-person or 4-person? Is it like 4-person like spades or
it's 2 to 4 players. So I think you can play heads up, or you do teams like 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Like a traditional thing. And then this little guy came in, and you've been seeing this on the text thread, but just to show everybody here, the Wonderland, Andrew Kolb, Wonderland RPG, like playthrough book is here. It's 5e compatible. If you play Dungeons and Dragons, then you should definitely pick this up. What?
I'm pretty sure there was just a ladybug on me. Can you do something for me?
Yeah.
Don't look inside, but can you just open it?
Like open it for people to see?
You don't have to show it to people. Now shut it.
Okay.
That's it. Andrew Kolb, he did not follow your directions. That's not on me. He did it. You told him not to open it. He opened it.
It's true. And that's fine. I already read it. I read the whole thing.
Okay.
So I did not read it. Actually, that was the first time I cracked it open, honestly. I do plan on flipping through it though and seeing like the art style and seeing the characters and stuff, because his books are always so pretty to look through. And it's funny because you don't own any of them, right? Or do you own one of them?
No, none of them. I want to own them, but no. Here's where I got hung up. I want to own the digital copies too, because I could only find one place selling the digital, but they were only selling the digital, and it was for like more than the print version. So I wanted to be able to like buy the print and get the digital as well, because I don't always want to like. Is
the digital version official? Because I've never seen a digital version.
There's a digital version being sold. That's as much as I can tell you. There's a digital version that is available of his books. You can Google it and find it. But I didn't purchase it because I didn't want to pay the price of the physical and not and only get the digital. But I liked the idea of being able to like read it on my phone.
Sure. I don't know where the other two are. I moved some things around and now I can't find them. I was going to show the three of them together.
You should ask him if it's official.
I'm going to for sure ask him, because I've never seen him talk about a digital version ever.
It does exist. I'm going to pull up the link while you're still talking, but it does exist.
This is super cute, and I didn't notice it until just now. If you look at this, so this is Wonderland, like Alice in Wonderland. If you look right here, Patrick, can you see the Cheshire Cat's smile just like ghosted in there? That's so super fun. But what I was going to show is that each of the books has a different art style to it. Inside, like the outside of the books, they all look the same, and they sit on a shelf really nicely together. They're beautiful. So you got Oz, you've got Neverland, and then now you have Wonderland, and they look beautiful on the shelf together. But inside, they have a very different look. And this one, Wonderland, if I remember him saying correctly, it's like it's almost Monty Python-esque. It's like this. It's like collage style.
Yeah, that's what he said early on. The thing is, I never knew if it changed at all by the time it made it in there, but
no, it's definitely in there, and it definitely has Monty Python vibes. So I'm excited to look through that. Sorry, Kolb, I love you, but I spent money on this book.
I have no respect for you.
I love you, but I don't care. My word to you doesn't mean anything. But yeah, so we have that book. Hopefully, we're gonna do a one shot with Kolb. Maybe we'll do it. Are we gonna stream it?
I don't know if we're streaming it, but I know that we are doing a one shot of it.
We are gonna do a one shot. So
here
that's
you go.
gonna
By
be
the way,
fun.
that is digital. Drive-through RPG digital version, $20 for Oz.
Okay.
And it says it's a watermarked PDF.
Okay. Well,
so that's
is that done by by the publisher?
I don't think the publisher is Drive-through RPG.
Yeah.
It does say, it says from Andrew McMeel Publishing, but I don't know if it's official or not. We should ask him.
Yeah, we do need to ask, because I wonder if he's getting kickbacks on that. Because if not, that sucks.
It's expensive enough. He should be.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I did some things, got a couple things, and yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Patrick, anything else happened for you?
A couple small things. Last time I talked, I mentioned that I had just I had experienced what I now know as an RIF for my job, a reduction in force. If you ever get fired and you don't want to say fired, you want people to still have respect for you, call it an RIF.
Okay.
Also, I think more than you have to get fired to say RIF. So thankfully for me, a lot of other people were also let go.
Yeah.
But I was unemployed for 72 hours. Terrifying. Big kick to the ego. And I got very lucky, and this is not hyperbolic. I got incredibly lucky that I just got a great LinkedIn message, and I got and accepted a job offer, and I'm now over at Heyo.
Heyo!
Oh, gosh. Have you been waiting 2 weeks?
Been waiting
2 weeks.
I
absolutely. That's the one thing I refuse to do. If my job is contingent on that,
you're about to get RIF'd again then.
But they're a great group of people. They're an agency. I have this weird thing now. When I worked at Miro, I could say, like, I could be pretty open about what I worked on. At least I felt like I knew the bounds of it. And now that I work for an agency, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. So I'm just leaving it there.
Say everything.
They're an agency. They're an awesome group of people. I've loved getting to know everybody. I'm just now like a weekend, but it's been amazing. What this also means is you will most assuredly see me at Creative South this year.
I was just gonna say, I guess we've gotta buckle up and head to Creative South again, huh?
I think it's probably like an unofficial company offsite, so you'll definitely see me there now. But super enjoying being with those guys and guys and girls, everybody over there, and very, very, very genuinely, non-hyperbolically, thank you, appreciative of the opportunity. So yes, that's been the craziness that kind of consumed, like feeling that, starting a new job, a week into the new job. That's been most of where all my energy has gone. There are a couple of things hanging out in the cracks. Who knows? One of those things is
hanging out in the cracks.
Hanging out in the cracks.
Is this a saying?
Yeah. Over in Georgia.
Okay.
One of those things, I've been turned on to a new YouTube channel that Kate, it's good to see you. It's okay that you're late. We're glad that you're here.
Welcome, Kate. Good to to have you here.
But in the past, and I've talked about on the channel, I've been watching a lot of Tavarish. Tavarish is a guy that he goes through a lot of cars. He rebuilds cars, and specifically he's rebuilding a McLaren P1 that was involved in a hurricane. It was actually a very famous video that made its rounds on social media.
I thought his name was Tavrish.
Could be, but I call him Tavarish.
I thought I had heard it. Maybe Cooper told me about it, but I've always heard him as Tavrish.
But his second channel is called Tuvarish, and so I'm pretty sure Tavarish is his. But who knows? It doesn't matter. But he's been in the process of rebuilding that. We're going on, I think, over a year now, watching this process unfold. He just got the car cranked on this last episode that dropped. But while watching Tavarish, while watching that saga, Matt Armstrong's name kept popping up as someone else to watch in the space in terms of people that kind of buy destroyed dream cars and fix them up. And so just in this last week, I've started picking up his videos, and it is a very similar thing, although with kind of a compressed schedule typically. So while Tavarish, we've been watching the P1 rebuild for over a year now. With Matt Armstrong, several of his videos are 24-hour builds where he'll buy a $200,000 or $300,000 car and set a goal of rebuilding it in 24 hours. Now, there are some massive asterisks and caveats on this. One is that he probably lies. And 2 is that it is 24 hours of labor. And so they could have to wait for parts to come in, or they stop to obviously sleep and eat and probably do other things. But 24 hours of labor to actually accomplish the rebuild. But some of the cars on there are just, they're awesome. And each episode ends up kind of being a self-contained story for the most part. So whereas Tavarish, these are hour and a half long episodes, and they're kind of like one piece of a really large puzzle. Matt's videos so far, the ones that I've seen, tend to be like the whole puzzle. We're just kind of running through some. So from that standpoint, it feels a lot more consumable, and it's at least interesting enough that as I'm sitting here between houses, that my own mom was like, "Oh, pause that real quick, I'll be back." It's at least interesting enough that she's even like, I got to see what happens next. So if you're looking for some,
and we all know Carol, she has a 30-second attention span. So if it can hold her, then it can hold anybody.
Kids that age. So if you're looking for some, I don't know, some people doing stuff videos, especially people doing stuff to things you'll never be able to afford, Matt Armstrong, I think, is fairly enjoyable. Again, rebuilding like just crazy dream cars that people have driven for like 15 miles and then wrecked. Yes, Andrew, you have your hand up.
I do have my hand up. On that topic, you watch Tested, right? Like you watch Adam Savage?
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not religious about it. I don't watch like every video that comes out.
Okay, like years ago, I remember this from, again, I'll say years ago.
Sounds like it.
He went to build, he does all these like cosplay, like he goes to Comic-Con dressed as these like crazy cosplay builds.
Yeah.
And he built a raptor suit, and like a lifelike raptor suit, and then he like shelved it, literally and metaphorically shelved it. And the videos actually, they ended up taking the videos down. I don't know why. Because they never finished the project, I guess, and it was intended to be like a continuous build. Well, he, in the last few weeks, he's brought it back down and is completing the project now.
Yeah.
And so I've been watching these installments happen, and they're like 45-minute long episodes of just these like progressive things. So if you're into, this isn't simply something that necessarily you couldn't afford, but it's definitely something that I would never invest my time in, but it is very interesting to watch.
Okay, see, this is where I call, we hear that thing repeated about attention spans, right?
Mm-hmm.
About how people can't sit through that and people want to boom and move on. And like the whole, like, what was the video platform that existed with the idea of everything was 8 minutes or less?
Tubi? Quibi?
I think it was Quibi. Yeah, like, did the door behind me just open? Am I crazy? No, that's fine. But, this whole...
The door opened from inside the house.
Oh, I did it. I just left it open. That's far more likely. But yeah, this whole idea that like we have to make media shorter and shorter and shorter, or otherwise we'll have nobody will watch it. But then the stuff that I'm talking about are these hour-and-a-half long videos that have millions of views. Like plenty of people are watching them, and also where it feels like, whether or not it's actually happening, it feels like there's this resurgence of podcasts as well, and not just podcasts, long-form 2-hour, whether it's interviews or deep dives or whatever. Like there's this resurgence happening right now, in money increasingly being dumped into those platforms, and it's just it seems like that idea should be kind of antithetical to what people say we're trending or current knowledge is, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be true. It doesn't seem to add up.
People don't have problems sitting through things they're interested in. That's the reality.
Yes.
And it's probably always been the reality. That's it.
Right.
And that's full stop. Like it's always been the reality. I think there's a bit where maybe we've made excuses for why content wasn't doing very well.
And I will say, as someone who has consumed an awful lot of YouTube, I have gained an appreciation for network TV with how
curated,
quick cut, jam packed that content is.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's what it needs to be to try to satisfy the every person.
Yeah.
If
you're trying to find lowest common denominator, yeah.
And so I agree that a lot of the content that probably we all watch, I agree that a lot of that content is not suitable for network television. It just doesn't have the pacing. It just doesn't have the depth. It's maybe
or the
not,
production value a lot of
right.
times.
It's maybe not realistic that a week of time passing gives you enough content to produce something of that level of quality. I get that. But the point still holds that you don't need to be kicking yourself to try to make every piece of content you produce as small and compact as possible. And the idea that if you don't do that, you're failing to meet the need.
Yeah.
Because clearly people's watch time proves that is not the demand right now.
Yeah, Kate,
or at least from everybody.
Kate just said it's true. If a long movie is good, you don't notice, and that's that's true. Like then there are some movies that are only an hour and a half, and you feel like they've been going for 4 days.
Pick one.
It really just depends. What?
Pick one.
Any one of the movies that feels like it's gone on for 4 days.
Princess Diaries 2 took forever to get through. I don't know what the runtime is. I assume it was slightly longer than The Irishman, but it took so long. You're welcome.
That was a personal affront, I feel.
Right,
anything else? Wait, no, there's one thing else you got to talk about for sure.
Wait, what's that?
What? The global Netflix event.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, wait, what are you telling me to take back? Well, I'll wait for the delay while you type that. No, I have two more small things real quick.
She doesn't like that you just crapped on Princess Diaries 2.
Okay. It was not good. That's number one.
Did you just watch it or something? Like, is this present like in your?
No, the last time I watched it, I walked out of the theater. So it was when it was in theaters. But
Okay.
that has stuck with me this long. That's how much I disliked it. Is that there's only 3 movies I've ever walked out of, and that was one of them.
The other one was Sorry to Bother You.
No. I didn't say movies I should have walked out of.
Oh, I see. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Netflix.
Okay, that's fine. We'll bypass the other 2 things and go to it.
I thought you started.
No, it's
I
fine.
thought you started to talk about it, and then you got distracted by the Princess Diary thing. So I was bringing you back. Go with whatever you were gonna say. I thought that's where you were going.
I don't understand why people were so hell bent on us seeing Mike Tyson's butt. It makes no sense to me that any of that segment that was left in. His son is a terrible interviewer. His son did not hold his microphone. Like half the time the son was holding the microphone, couldn't hear what he was saying. And then we didn't.
He'd hold the microphone to himself after asking the question, and then hold it over to him when he asks. It felt like an SNL bit, honestly.
Completely.
Yeah.
100%. And then we had to see the uncropped, like full bare butt. I was convinced that was live. That was happening in the moment. But
Is it not live?
According to the announcers, they made a comment about this conversation from earlier.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I misunderstood. But if that was pre-recorded and that's what you put out, then that is a brazen attempt to
show off an almost 60-year-old.
Well, to create viral media and to get mid to low level podcasts to talk about it several days later, and I don't appreciate.
I'd say mid to upper. The thing that was weird for me because they came out of that, and the female announcer was like, "Well, it really didn't need to see."
Was that
Tyson's
the woman from
butt.
Scrubs? What's she from?
I don't remember. She's from something.
She's from something, and it was like I just could not place it the whole time, and I was also too lazy to look it up.
I feel like Becca knew what she was from because I feel like she said it, but I don't remember now. Yeah, what was your take? What was your take on that? Like, what was your take on the whole thing?
They both got their money. I mean, my opinion. I don't trust anybody from that standpoint. Oh, hi, Crider. I say don't trust anybody. They're there to get their money, and it felt like, frankly, was it Logan Paul that he was fighting or Jake
Paul?
Jake Paul. It felt like, frankly, Jake Paul could have been more aggressive, especially from like the 3rd or 4th round on, and he just chose not to be. So in a weird way, it felt like a kind of like, I don't know if it's respectful or maybe it's kind of a respectful thing to just like lay off a bit. We both get our money. We take it 8 rounds. Everybody gets a show and we leave and we're fine. So that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. I definitely felt that way on Jake. It was weird because I watched all the training stuff of Tyson, and the Tyson we saw in the training camp looked very, very, very different than the Tyson that we saw. We saw him pulling punches for sure. And it's hard. I am not a conspiracy theorist. You
absolutely are.
I am not a conspiracy theorist.
The last 5 times I've talked to you, you've said that at least once.
However, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's just really hard to look at that and go, one of these things does not look like the other. And the Tyson that and maybe he just aged a lot in the last week, but the training camp stuff was so, he didn't look like that at all. It wasn't like by round 8 his body was tired and he couldn't do that. He didn't come out like that at all in the fight. So it's just weird. It just feels weird. It definitely feels like they were there for the money. Which is fine. It's fine. The fights leading up to it were pretty great. The women's fight was,
I did not want to see that extreme close up of that eyelid.
With the flappy, the flap. Oh,
genuinely, I just
gnarly.
started looking at my phone every time. It was so. It was as though what's his name was behind the camera, like Inglourious Bastards or
It was Guillermo del Toro. Nope.
Yep. The famous Coen brothers that did Inglourious Bastards. Yep, for sure. No, it just felt like
Quentin Tarantino. There we go.
Tarantino. Oh my God.
Remember when we used to be a pop culture podcast who would see films and new things?
Think right now. I didn't want to see inside of her skull anymore. But no, it just felt like they were both getting paid. I'm not against that. Like, honestly, if my career was at such a point that I could get who knows how many tens of millions of dollars to just do something for 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Get like punched, 78 times, whatever the number was. I guess if you're Jake Paul, then 19 times.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't care what people say about me. I can just turn off my phone for a month.
Yeah.
And then flip it back on after everybody is like let up.
Yeah, it's tough. I think what makes me less gracious about it is that I stayed up about 3 hours past my bedtime to watch that.
I'm East Coast. I stayed up an hour longer than you did.
That's the part that makes it hard for me to be gracious to him. But the fights leading up to it were pretty good. The other fight was pretty hard fought, and it was they were at least intriguing enough to kind of keep me in it.
Yeah.
I thought the graphics package was pretty good. We didn't lose the stream at all.
No, we didn't either. I think twice it felt like it dropped down to 720, but only for a few seconds and went back up.
For just a hot second. But I was seeing stuff online about people losing Netflix completely, and I'm like, that didn't happen to me at all. And Lord knows we've had issues with our Wi-Fi and streaming
if
stuff.
Someone had a problem, it'd be you.
We
didn't
drop it at all.
All the tracked kind of floating digital fighter cards and stuff that were happening, like all that graphic stuff looked so good. I thought it looked great. The only thing I hated is I wish they'd done the green mat, so it was like Tyson's Punch Out. I wish they had themed the environment more like the actual video game.
That would have been pretty good. Yeah. I wish they had green screened out that stupid car that Jake rode in on.
Am I the only one that liked his outfit? Because I would have worn that jacket in a heartbeat.
I didn't mind his outfit. His outfit at all. I like it. It's his body.
The parakeet was stupid.
Yes.
Don't bring animals into this. The parakeet was stupid. It didn't deserve that. It should be in bed. Or whatever parakeets do, but like not that.
I think they fly.
let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
But the outfit I got.
Yeah. I did like the understated, like, Tyson walked down by himself, no entourage.
Yep.
Entourage, just straight black trunks. Like it was the way that it was setting itself up. It set itself up like this was going to be the fight for
it.
The fight for the fight for the ages, to just watch like, oh, I can't wait to watch Jake just get completely demolished because he's so full of himself and blah blah blah. And then
he's 58 years old. It wasn't
he is 58 years old. He is 58 years old. But did you watch any of the training camp stuff?
Yeah, of course I did. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying a 58-year-old can't knock me out. But I'm just saying that the stamina was never going to be there. Sure.
That's well, and I felt, and I heard it said, I don't remember where I heard it, but it was like, if maybe it was even on the actual the event, if it goes past 1 round or 2 rounds, then it goes to Jake because of the time. But like, there was at no point was there ever a risk of. Now, it did seem like in the first round or two, Jake seemed a little nervous to get anywhere near Mike Tyson.
Completely.
Like he was definitely dancing away and like keeping his distance. He had like a 6 or 7 inch advantage over Tyson in terms of reach. So I was hopeful for that first round knockout for sure.
It was a lose. Here's the thing. From Jake's perspective, I don't see how this was a winnable situation in any case. On one hand, you get beat by a 50-year-old man.
Right.
On the second hand, you knock out a 58-year-old man.
Right.
Neither of things are good. Or on the third opportunity is what we got. You just go to time and everybody feels ripped off. But like there is no opportunity where you walk away from that with people having elevated their opinion about you.
About you as a fighter, for sure.
So from that standpoint, it is just money. That's all it is. And which is why, like, I feel like I can't be upset by what happened because they got what they wanted. They got money.
Yeah.
But it was a lose-lose situation.
And we didn't pay for it.
And we didn't pay for it.
If we had paid for it, if we had done like pay-per-view for it, I would have been very upset.
Yeah. Which is why you let Chris pay for it. I did like Logan Paul's Halloween outfit, I guess. The whole like Dallas Buyers Club thing he was rocking. I thought that looked great.
Dallas Buyers Club. I wish I could remember.
You don't think he looked like a character? It's fine. Whatever.
I'm trying to remember what he looked like.
Okay, great.
I remember multiple times seeing him, not clocking what he was wearing, but multiple times seeing him and thinking, he is such a doofus.
Okay, well that's true too. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, if you want a hype man in your corner, I wouldn't have picked him. He just sprayed him with like Axe body spray the whole time.
He just sprayed him in his face, and then at the end,
we don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
No, he sprayed him. He sprayed him with Jake Paul's like his body scent. You can only buy it at Walmart. It's called the W. I'm surprised you didn't hear him like pitching it during his pre-interview. But at the end, when they were announcing him as the winner and he held up his hand, he had his hat on, and Logan went to spray stuff again and he knocked his hat off. He knocked off Jake's hat when they were doing the announcement of him as the winner. And I just thought, like, man, he's just sitting. Jake is just sitting there going like, oh my gosh, Logan, could you just stop? Stop.
Well, we all lost.
Yeah, we all lost.
Not only did they lose, but I think we all lost. It's funny. I was watching this past week I enjoy YouTube Golf, which I know is unsurprising to you, and two of the people that I follow, they opened their own golf course, and as part of opening this new course, they invited all these YouTubers to come film a bunch of content. And I was watching Fat Perez and one other person. I'm blanking on their name right now, but they were filming a video together where they were just kind of playing like it was like some straight up round or whatever. and they both played horribly. Now, they were tied the whole time, so it's what we would call a pillow fight, but they both played terribly. And it got to the last hole, and they're tied. And they do, like, I don't remember if they did a playoff or what, but they both bogeyed it, and they were still tied, and they just went, you know what? We both lost. And
We're
they
done.
just left.
Yeah.
Like, that was the end of the video. And it was so appropriate. And
That's good.
how I
Rather
feel.
than them saying like one of them wins, like they realized, neither one of them deserved to win. So
No.
we'll just call it.
No, it is one of the funniest videos I've seen in recent memory. But that's also how I feel about the fight. So
That's funny. Okay. Anything else before we move to our master categories?
no, that's all.
Okay. Well, then that's going to be it for the Around the Table. Up next, we're going to talk about some master categories.
Hey, you want to hear something interesting though?
Yes.
That I'm not including in the podcast.
Yeah.
Did you hear who Mackenzie hung out with all week?
No.
This whole last week, Mackenzie was hanging out with this guy
Ooh.
that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to tell you. I'm just trying to find out if you know who he is.
Lucky her.
No, he's this like writer and producer who has worked with like everybody. I don't know how to say it. Like
Was it Pharrell?
No, it's this guy named Rodney Jerkins, but it's like everybody from Whitney Houston to Michael Jackson to like Destiny's Child and Nelly Furtado and like everybody.
Why was she hanging? Like, is he doing stuff at the studio?
She was his avocado girl. So when he wanted avocados, she got him.
Okay.
No, he was. They were doing a songwriting camp, so they had songwriters in, and so she was like, she'd get people from the airport, and she would like set up stuff for like the events they were doing, and then
She was
like,
running PA stuff.
Yeah. She was just making sure that like everything worked.
Yeah.
Everything worked.
That's awesome. I don't know who Porter Jenkins is, but he sounds cool.
Porter Jenkins. Yeah, the old prospector's son, Porter Jenkins.
Porter Jenkins. The master categories each week are when we talk about the dice we rolled in the previous episode. We pick our topics based on those categories. Patrick, I would just really like to hear about what you're talking about.
I have learned a new term.
Okay.
I was supposed to talk about travel. I'm not talking about travel. Travel has let me down recently. I'm sad about travel, and so travel is cut off. If you want to know why I'm sad about travel, I'm not going to tell you. I told all the people watching the live stream, and you're not listening to the live stream, so you have to go to twitch.tv/move1podcast, and you have to watch the live stream, and then you can find out these things. But
yes,
in the absence of that, I'm going to talk about a game, because you like games, and that is Balatro. Balatro, this is where I learned a new term, is a roguelike deck building game. Do you know what a roguelike game is?
No.
Great. I read 3 articles and still don't know what a roguelike game is. It has something to do with levels and predefined or generated like situations. People refer to it as like dungeon crawlers tend to be roguelike, but I could not make sense of it. And in fact, one of the things I read said there's a lot of disagreement about what roguelike games mean. So just ignore it. Everywhere you see roguelike or everywhere you see this game, it will mention roguelike. I can't make sense of it at all. If you have a better way of describing it to me, please do. But here's the point. It's a deck building game. So with Balatro,
digital.
It is digital, yes.
Okay.
It's a digital deck building game. This came out back in February. However, it just recently came out on iOS. So you can now, if you use like Apple Arcade, you can get it for free through there. Balatro
Nice.
Plus. Which is, I've been watching some people play it. I saw that it was popular with some Twitch streamers. I had not played it because I don't play a lot of games like actually tethered to my computer. And so when it came out for iOS, I was excited to try it out. But it's a game where you start with a deck. There are different decks, and so therefore those create different scenarios. And also there are different rules to each level you progress through. You're trying to progress through 8 antes, but ultimately you have to defeat 8 big blinds. And so your deck is, I guess each deck is like actually 4 decks. But depending on which starting deck you use, it will change. Like, okay, maybe you get an extra discard every round. Maybe you get an extra hand every round. Maybe instead of having, I'm sorry, it's a single deck. Maybe instead of having 4 different suits, you only have 2 suits, or maybe some other modifiers happen. The other thing is that you get jokers, and each joker you get performs some action. Or allows you to perform some action. And there's a lot of them. I don't remember exactly how many. I think it's over 100 different jokers. And so when you're playing, these jokers are put in front of you. You can purchase them. You can have up to so many in your inventory, basically. And those modify every hand that you play. There are some other mechanics stacked on top of that, which is that some jokers, if you buy them, are eternal, which means you can't get rid of them. So maybe you want to collect jokers early on because you need them in order to survive the next big blind. But if you pick up an eternal one, you can never get rid of it. You have to always work around it. And so there's this idea that you're building a deck, but you're building it from this collection of unknown modifiers. You can't plan out what you're going to get. And you have to do your best to survive through 8 rounds. Once you survive 8 rounds, you switch to infinite mode. And you can try to play as long as you can. Now, within that, there's a lot of achievements to earn. There's a lot of different things you can accomplish in the game that kind of add another twist on top of it as well. But I have found this to be wildly addicting. It's something that you can sit down. Now, it probably takes, depending on how many blinds you make it through, like it could take 20 or 30 minutes to get through a game. I feel particularly slow because I'm really thinking this through. There's so many possible mechanisms at play. It's kind of hard to pick a lane. It's much like when you play a board game for the first time. You wanna try to spec into everything instead of speccing into one thing.
Especially a board game that has multiple win conditions.
Right. And so in this case, you have to very quickly figure out, okay, what am I speccing into? Like what is my best chance with the information I have now of making it to the end? And then once you play your next hand, how can I adapt to either fit this in or what do I need to do in order to try to make it to the end? And then finally, everything that you play, it'll give you the seed number for it. So if you want to, you can replay with those exact conditions. So you'll get the same joker draws, you'll get the same, etc. This can be fun for different reasons. It also allows people to try out the same scenario. Now, some of the achievements and things you can earn, you can't earn if you're playing like a predetermined seed, basically. So
like a pick your battle.
Yeah. But it does create some fun challenges. So I'm probably, in terms of progression, I feel like I'm barely into the game. I've almost collected like all the jokers. To collect them, I think you have to actually, number one, you have to see them or you have to unlock them, and then you have to like purchase them. So I've collected a good bit of the jokers. So from that type of progression, pretty far along. In terms of actually doing all the challenges, beating all the different stakes, etc., not even close. I think I'm in like single digit percentile, even though I've been now playing the game for the last month. But it's just very addictive.
Do you? I'm not gonna ask this. I'm gonna say what I think is true.
Great.
You care more about the gameplay than the visual of it. Yes?
I do. Are you suggesting now that you do not like the visual?
I hate the visual of it. It's unnecessarily 8-bit. Like it looks like the game was created on Microsoft Paint. And it doesn't need to. Like we're beyond that. And it doesn't like do it in a way that feels like it doesn't harken back to like nostalgia in a way that's like they could have done this like Marvel Snap. Like the visuals could have been really crisp and clean and have really nice graphics tied to it, and they chose not to, and I don't get why. Like I won't play this game because I don't want to look at that on my screen.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah, I think it's probably ugly. But when playing it, in terms of in terms of like the actual experience of it, everything feels really solid, and everything feels really well
thought out.
like the iconography that's included, or tooltips, or like everything just feels really, really well thought of in terms of that. So I could understand wanting to skin it to have a different look.
Yeah.
But the function of it is great, and it feels super solid.
And I and looking at it, it looks really unique and really interesting, and I would be down enough to want to try it. If it looked different, like, so maybe they come out with different packs that are like that skin it differently, and in which case I'd be like, I would be down to try that. So.
And I'll say this: you can get within the game, you can get different card faces and card backs.
Yeah.
But it's a very limited amount, and it's still not going to break the aesthetic you're talking about. So even though it's a different design, it still fits within the aesthetic overall. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
I've never heard of this before. I do think.
Go ahead.
I do think I've seen that graphic though, like the logo. I do
the
think
actual
I've seen it before.
splash screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing: very enjoyable. When you go to play it, it's going to be a bit maddening if you don't do any reading or watch anyone else play it. There's gonna be a learning curve to understand how to actually score in the game, and what things you need to prioritize early, or again, just understanding like what are those the lanes, or what are the things I need to spec into quickly to give me the best chance. I've played a decent number of rounds of this. You know how I tend to consume mobile games when I enjoy mobile games.
Indeed.
And I feel still completely incompetent at this game. So that's my only thing I'll throw out to you, is that there's a learning curve. But the other side of that is this is something you can play a very long time and get a lot of replay value out of, because of the kind of breadth of different situations you can find yourself in.
Okay.
That is Balatro. I think it's basically available on all platforms. Again, now on iOS. I believe it also released for Android at the same time.
It's on Steam, so you can for sure.
Yeah, you can pick it up
on
on Steam,
anything.
so you can pick it up other places. It's not expensive, works great. No in-game ads on any platforms. So if you have it, no in-game ads. But Balatro, not Banacho, whatever Andrew said earlier.
Not Banacho. Okay. Mine's gonna be pretty quick. This is a story. It's a story. It's a radio play, as it were. But
I will play the part of Miss Jessica.
Okay. Heard about this. I was listening to the Armchair Expert podcast, and it had Melissa McCarthy and Ben. What's her husband's name? Ben Falcone. Falcone, yeah. Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone on the show, and they started talking about this new project that they have out, and it's called Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. I'm gonna show it to you just real quick. I'm gonna share my screen with you just real quick so you can see this. This is the graphic for it.
It's exactly what I would have expected.
I know, it's perfect. It's no notes. That is a perfect
I'm
graphic.
not saying no notes. I'm saying it's exactly what I would have expected.
I'm saying no notes. This is exactly what I would want to see for what this actually is. So let me now read to you what this is. Here's the description. When an evil force threatens to incinerate the fantastical land of Golgoroth, it's up to Hildy the Barback and her friends to kick some ass on a comedic quest to save the world. Oh, also there are lots of dragons. Melissa McCarthy.
Your acting is so good. I genuinely thought you thought of something in that moment.
Yeah, that's how good I am. But no, I was reading it, and they had thought of something.
Wow.
So I was just reading that they had thought.
Go ahead.
Melissa McCarthy leads an all-star cast, including Ben Falcone, Octavia Spencer, Glenn Close, and much, much more in Hildy the Barback, The Lake of Fire, a legendary adventure you won't want to miss. Featuring, this is what's cool about this, maybe cool depending on who you are. Each episode has an original song that is performed in it. So like it's done totally. So this isn't just a, like I said, it's a radio play. It's not just a podcast. It is a fully produced radio play with sound effects, characters, different actors. And like I said, there is an original song for every episode. It's an 8-episode season. Each episode's about 30 minutes long. And so what you end up with is about a 2-hour story, and they're already in production of season 2. So if you like it, then you have something to look forward to. I tell this to you, Patrick, not because I think you'll enjoy it. In fact, I don't think you will enjoy it. Even if you do, you like? I can't remember. Are you a Melissa McCarthy fan or not a Melissa McCarthy fan? I feel like you had an opinion.
I waffle back and forth. I am not fully anti Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
But I also have such a small amount of tolerance for Melissa McCarthy.
Okay. It is well produced, well written, all these things, but it is silly humor. So, like, if you don't like Melissa McCarthy's humor, you likely will not enjoy this. There are moments where I find myself laughing at some of the characters and what they say, and then there are other moments where I'm like, why would they leave? Like, why would they do that? So, this isn't a full endorsement, other than to say it is entertaining. I'm halfway through the story, and I mean, the production value is really, really good. I would 100% say if you're into fantasy stuff, they say that this happens very early in the beginning of the first episode. All of the men, so she's a barback, Hildy the barback. She works at this bar who was owned by her father, and she runs it. She does everything. But when her father died, he left it to her older brother because he's a man, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't know how to do anything. He just walks in and tells people, like, drinks are on me, and she does all the work. He, with the other group of men, when there is a threat to their town, they all go out to defeat them. I believe there are 7 of them. They go out to defeat them and immediately get incinerated by a dragon. And so it's up to Melissa McCarthy, Hildy. It's up to Hildy and this band of women to step up and kind of take hold and take charge. And so it's unapologetically funny and a little political, but not like in the political in like the patriarchy versus
more about like the caste system, serfs, things like that.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But I would 100% say if you're into fantasy stuff, you should just at least give the first episode a listen. It is fun. And the original music is pretty fun as well. You will recognize lots of the voices, not just the people that I just mentioned.
Are the songs actually good?
A couple of them are.
I have such a. I can enjoy. You know, I like Flight of the Conchords. I like Tom Cardy.
Mm-hmm.
I like things like that. But sometimes it feels like it's a really long gap to get from bad song to there.
Yeah, it's these are a couple of the songs are Flight of the Conchordy, okay. And then a couple of them are not. A couple of them are like what you would see like on a in a church like parody CD. Like there's a couple that are like that. But there's one that I wish I could remember the name. It was super funny. It was about dragons, and I can't remember the name of it right now. When I find it, I'll send it to you personally, Patrick. I'll find the name of it. But anyway, Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. Hey, check it out. Why not? What else you had going on? Okay, I think that's going to be it for our episode. Next time, hopefully, we'll have the trio back, and maybe something will pop up between here and there. Lauren had mentioned something about doing like a full episode on something else. Yeah, Patrick?
I do have one thing to throw out, and that is MF1. That's our Secret Santa.
That's right.
Signups are available now, and they're only available for this week. So part of the reason it's so rushed is because we don't want you to go, oh, I'll just sign up for it next week and then forget about it. You have to sign up for it now or it's over. And the second reason is because we need to do matching quickly. That way you have plenty of time to get your gift to your person by Christmas. We have a lot of people that feel like the turnaround time is too short, or shipping is too slow, or it gets worse obviously as we get closer to the holiday. So we're trying to help you help yourself by giving you time, but we're also trying to light the fire under you so you don't sit on this and miss it. Here's the thing: signups are going this week. Next Monday, signups get closed, and that's it. There's no matching. We can't match after that, because otherwise we have to match you to yourself. Like if one person shows up after the fact, you're alone. So if you miss the cutoff, you miss it. So if you want to sign up, the sign up link will be in our Slack. The sign up link will also be in the description on this video if you're looking in one of the places that serves you podcasts with descriptions.
Yeah. And if you miss the cutoff, just send me a birthday present. I'm fine getting them late. Yeah. It's okay.
Your birthday is yesterday.
My birthday is yesterday. Yep. If you're listening to this, my birthday is yesterday. Yes. I've got 3 3/4 hours left of my 30s. I'm gonna go live it up by icing all of my bits.
I would be so depressed. I do appreciate that you're actively like nursing a sore body as when you roll into your 40s. But also, I'd just be wildly depressed if I was you.
It's been a fight to not be. And when we get off air, I have a few things to share with you. But for the purposes of what I'm trying to project and trying to will into fruition is
That's right.
a positive sense of there's good things.
There is coming. More life to live.
Yeah, there is more. So I did breach the 100-pound mark, by the way, this morning. So I feel good about that. Just in time to. Becca's been baking my cake this entire time, so she's baking like this like cookie butter Biscoff.
Y'all really stick to traditional gender roles, huh?
We really do. We do everything we can to just really hold down the fort. The world's trying to change everything.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so
that's what's gonna be in your cake.
To celebrate that's pretty much what is in there. To celebrate losing 100 pounds, I'm gonna have just a bunch of really, really tasty cake. Sad that you guys won't be here. We had a
or will we? Look behind you.
Your backdrop falls over and you're just in your house. I genuinely there was a part of me that wondered if that was going to be the case, and then you lost and got a new job and was like, oh, there's no way that's happening.
It might have been the case had it not been this whirlwind that took place.
Becca sent out, like she said, who would you want to have to celebrate your birthday with? And I listed out a bunch of people, all the people that you would expect, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, when these things happen, you maybe get half of the people, because that's just what happens, because people have life and you can't expect people to drop what they're doing in the middle of the week, and these people have families or whatever. And so my initial plan was, let's go to dinner and then let's do an escape room, because that's an ideal birthday. Well, everyone said yes. So then we had to figure out where we're going to eat that can hold this many people as a party, and then what can we do together afterwards. And so we had to call a little bit of an audible, but it's only because people love me. So that's a hard, It's okay. I'm okay with changing the plan because more people said yes than what I anticipated. We stacked the deck thinking that half the people wouldn't, but here we are. So now we're playing with 2 decks. Okay, on that note, we will see you guys. You can see us, or you can find all this stuff over at mof1.network. You can find show notes and links to this stuff, but as well as, hundreds and hundreds of episodes in the archive. And like we said, on the weeks when we're not around, go listen to one of those episodes and share it. Go share some of your favorite episodes with some of your favorite people. It's not going to hurt anything. And then what else? You can find the conversation on Slack. Just find the Slack little icon with the little hashtag on our website. And, there's other things. We're on social at M of1 Podcast. I'm at Andrew Sale with 3s instead of E's. Patrick, where's your new Instagram handle?
I'm at home.
On that note, We're going to get out of this episode until next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
Peace out.
I was literally waiting for Lauren.
I'm saying peace out to my 30s. Peace out, 30s.
Peace out, 30s.
Peace out, 30s.
It is in the 30s. Hi, Doc. There are some gems in there. You just mean in his 40 years he's been here?
There's a couple of gems in there.
There's a couple of gems.
I'm hosting the I'm hosting Whiskey and Wise this month.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing Ship of Theseus.
Yes.
And I got the author to agree to come on and do an interview. Like he's going to join us in a call when we're actually having the meeting so that people can talk to him. He lives in San Marcos. He's a professor. He's a literary professor. He's a literary professor at the college in San Marcos. And so,
well, if I remember right, we talked about maybe having him on the show sometime, and then I think we never were able to sync up on that.
Well, this is the foray. I bring him in for this. We're gonna talk, and then I'm gonna hook him into being on the show and actually talk. And I'll have him bring J.J. Abrams with him.
Yeah, easy. This is not J.J. Abrams?
No, this is Doug Dorst.
Doug Dorst. In that case, I should read it because I have S sitting here. Nope, it's sitting in Texas. You need an extra copy?
Yeah,
we'll have him over to my house.
We'll have him sign it. I was supposed to go to your house this weekend.
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
Every day, I hope it just burns down.
do you
and
want me?
If it does, I hope the insurance doesn't find this recording.
I was gonna say, do you want me to burn it down? I'm capable of that.
No, I mean, say goodbye to your 30s.
and
say
your
goodbye
freedom.
to the next 30. I don't know, whatever.
Say goodbye to more 30s. Okay, I think we should just call this one. It's time to say goodnight, everybody.
Yeah, you beautiful people. Doc, I'm glad you were here, by the way.
I know. Did Doc just show up here in these last 30 seconds?
It's honestly hard to know. I think he was probably here the entire time.
I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. Oh, man. Where was that thing we had? Where's Tiny House? Found it. Okay. Wait. Any second now.
Here it is.
Tiny House. All right, everybody. Bye. Enjoy your evening. Please sign up for Move On Secret Santa. I'm saying please. I don't really, I mean,
you don't care.
Don't.
But do it. If you're going to do it now.
Yeah, if you're going to do it now.
Yeah, that's
I would like for you to do it because you're creative people and I like seeing what y'all do. And also, it's the more people that potentially send stuff to me. Yeah. So I would.
Everyone is just sending things to Patrick. That's
I match. How can I play this? I match everyone to me, but then I match everyone else to each other. There's got to be a way where I can receive and not have to give.
Well, you could just tell people that you matched them with someone else. It's pretty straightforward. It's just called lying.
I could lie for sure.
All right, thanks for the birthday wishes, Jedi. I assume that my gift will be in the mail in the next couple days. So
yeah, big thanks. It's actually out in the parking. It's in the parking garage.
Let me just head out to the parking garage.
We'll just head out there and get it.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye everybody. I don't know why I did that. Shut up.